Hi guys, remember to like my video, share my video, subscribe to my video, and comment to my videos. Thank you guys for all your kind words and word of comfort in your comment. And thanks for out of your busy day, you took the time out to view my videos. I respect you guys. Thanks so much. Okay, my topic is that we must not judge and must not be quick to cast judgment on others when we ourselves are not doing the right thing. We done wrong, yet if we heard about someone who have done wrong, we're ready to be angry about what they have done and want to kill them when we ourselves are so guilty. I'm talking about this Bible character David. And I guess a lot of you know this story about David. Many things David has done wrong, but the thing about David, whenever he stray and do what is wrong in the sight of God, he always go back on his knee and pray and ask for forgiveness. That's why God said he is David is a man of his own heart. So this is the story of David, what he have done to this man Uriah. Uriah was in the army, he was a man of war. So he went out, as you know, the Israelite them was always fighting against other people who want to kill them and to take over their land. So Uriah was out in battle fighting, and David went up on his housetop, as the story said. And while he were there, he observed this pretty looking lady, Bathsheba, that's Uriah's wife. And he inquired about her and find out that is his wife, and he sent for her and lie with her. And after she was there for a time, he sent her home. But when she realized she was pregnant, so she sent word to him to let him know that she's pregnant with his child. So David want to cover up his act. Send for Uriah now. Send letter to the head one there and ask him to send Uriah home. So when Uriah came home, he invited him in his house, and he let him eat and drink and send him home. Say, like, oh, is it there now? He must go home to his wife. But Uriah was a man of God and believing doing his work for God. So he didn't went home. Instead of going home, he stayed with David's soldiers outside. And when David found out that he didn't went to sleep with Bathsheba, he wasn't pleased. So the next day he tell him to stay till the next day, and he make sure to give him a lot of wine that he became drunk. But although he was drunk, he still didn't go and sleep with his wife, and that David have to make another plan. So you see, guys, from one wrong to the other wrong when we try to cover up our sin. So what David did now, David give Uriah a letter to give to the head chief there, and the letter read that he should put him in the face war, the bath. What is we know that because he want Uriah to be killed, but poor Uriah didn't know that the letter he was carrying was his death sentence. So you see what David has done, and then Uriah was put in front there where the war was very hot, and he was killed. And when David find out that he was dead now, he sent for Uriah's wife and make her to be his wife because she was carrying his child. Okay, so guys, here it is. I wrote down some. So listen now. This text is found in 2 Samuel 11 and 12, chapter 11 and chapter 12. And the Lord sent Nathan to David. He came to him and said to him, there were two men in a certain city, the one rich and the other poor. The rich man had very much flocks and herds, but the poor man had nothing but one little ewe lamb, which he had bought, and he brought it up, and it grew up with him and with his children. it used to eat of him morsel and drink of him from his cup and lie in his arms, and it was like a daughter to him. Now there came a stranger to the rich man, and he was unwilling to take one of his own flock or herd to prepare for the guest who had come to him, but he took the poor man's lamb and prepared it for the man who had come to him. So this is the story he was telling David, because he didn't want to just approach him like that, because he was the king and he was just a prophet, so he could not just come to him and tell him like that, because the king can kill you, because he's the head one. So God give him a purpose to tell to David. So David did know that it was him the purpose go for. So hear what David said to Nathan. Then David hunger was greatly kindled against the man, and he said to Nathan, as the Lord lives, this man who had done this deserved to die. So you see what David said? The man who have done that wicked thing to the poor man deserved to die, and shall restore the lamb fourfold, because he did this thing and because he had no pity. You're casting judgment on the man. Nathan said to David, you are the man. Nathan said to David, you are the man. Thus saith the Lord, God of Israel, I anointed you king over Israel. I deliver you out of the land of Saul. So you see, guys, we are not to be quick to judge and to cast death on others, because here it is now. It was his own story, but he didn't know. Okay, he didn't know. And Nathan put it so nicely as God had tell him to do, and tell him about a different thing about this man and his evil lamb, and it was the only lamb that he have, and the rich man took it away, the one little lamb, and kill it to give to feed his stranger that was in his house. And you see how quick David was angry, kindled against that rich man, say he should die for doing that to the poor man, taking away his one and only Eve lamb to kill, to give to somebody who came to his house. And yet it was David, same one that story was about, but he didn't know. So he cast judgment and said how many fourscore he should come back with for the man and all what he should have done. But it was just a story Nathan telling him. So when Nathan said it is he was the man, he was frightened, so he went down on his knee and asking God to forgive him, asking for forgiveness. But as Nathan tell him, the Lord said he shall not die. David shall not die. So you see, guys, how quickly he was passing judgment, and say that man is wicked and don't have any pity on the poor. And yet, look what he have done. Go and take away the man's wife, send for her, so he was the king, and get her pregnant. And because Uriah didn't go and sleep with his wife, he sent him to be killed at war. You see how unfair life is, guys? So sometimes we are like that, quick to judge others, quick to pick the bean in the next person's eyes, when it is in our own eyes to be removed. Oh, sorry, guys, I'm sweating, because if I'm not in where I am, the children using it to do their work online. You see? So you see how quickly he wanted that man to be dead, and it was him, so he passed death sentence on his own self. But thanks be to God for his love and his mercies toward us, his children. He forgave him for what he have done. He forgave him, yes. But at the same time, he put a curse on his house. And you see what happened? His son, Absalom, if I call his name correctly, wanted to kill him. And his other son, Haman, something like that, lost after his own sister, Tamar. and pretend that he was sick and was dying, and asked his father to send over Tamar for her to bake bread for him, just because he did want to rape her. So when his sister was in the room with him, now he raped her, and after he raped her, he hate her more than how he did love her. So you see the curse that fall down in his household just because of what he have done. Yes, many bad things happen in his household. So anything we done that is wrong, though God forgive us for it, we still have to pay the consequences. But thanks be to God for his goodness, where Jesus came on earth and died for our sin, that we can have life and have it more abundantly. So guys, let us be careful what we do, what we have done. Okay? Let us be careful not to quick to point fingers at others and to judge others, but to look back into ourselves and to see the fault in us before we see the fault in others. Because David gets so hungry, and say the man should die for doing what he have done, and yet he was the man. He was the man. But the prophet put it so nicely, he didn't know, because he was afraid of David. So God tell him how to go and say it in a parables. You know, when Jesus was on earth, his parables. So Nathan used the parables on him, and he wanted that man to be dead, to put to death. And he was the man. But as you all know the story, the child born, but the child didn't live. He died because God tell him that he's not going to let the child live. The wicked act that he has done. But anytime he sin, as you see how many psalms he have wrote, because when he have sinned, he always go and ask God forgiveness. Okay, so that's it. There's no sin too hard or too deep or too bad for us not to go and ask forgiveness from God, and he's willing to forgive us. So the quiz that I gave give out the other day, and about the man of God, the man of war, the mighty man of war, went and promised God that if he allow him to win the battle, he would, the first thing that came to visit him, to meet him at the gate, he would make it a sacrifice for God. I asked the question, but no one gave me the answer. So it was his daughter. Yes, it was his daughter came, his one and only daughter. Never have any more children, that the one girl. And that's the person who run to meet him. And he was so very sad. Can you imagine your one daughter run out to meet you and you make us a pledge with God? A vow with God, said anything, but at the same time, if he had asked God to um help him through the season, not to let him have to kill his one and only daughter, and to if he would accept a lamb, I'm sure God would accept the lamb and not his daughter. But he didn't go back on his word. He end up have to make his daughter sacrifice as he has promised. So we have to be careful sometimes what we vow, guys, because it's very serious. So as I said, I'm giving Bible quiz, but I'm not getting back any answer from the Bible quiz and so on. So it's like I'm not going to give any more Bible quiz. I'm just going to read from the Bible and tell a story of those who were both kings, prophet, and others. So I'm going to go into the New Testament next time now and give you guys some New Testament reading, So we have to be very careful, guys, and be sure about what we are doing and not to pass judgment on each other when we are doing the same thing, making the same mistake, yet we don't see ourselves, but we see others. Let us be very careful about that. Let us pick the bean out of our eyes before we see our brothers or our sisters own, okay? Let us look into ourselves, search ourselves, and see where we are wrong or where we are at fault before we point fingers on others. So guys, remember to like my videos, share my videos, subscribe to my videos, and ring that bell. Love you guys. Peace out.